Imagine leading a company that doesn't just innovate, but truly changes lives while earning trust, respect, and loyalty across the board. Sounds powerful, right? Welcome to this 20-minute highlight episode crafted for busy professionals like you. We have distilled the best moments from our full length conversations so you can gain maximum insight in minimal time. Today, we are spotlighting Philipp Baaske, the CEO of NanoTemper, a global biotech innovator. From his small village roots in Bavaria to breakthroughs in fighting diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's, Philipp's journey is both inspiring and practical. In the next 20 minutes, you will hear his biggest leadership lessons, how he keeps innovation thriving, and why treating every team member equally, whether on the production floor or in the C-suite, defines true leadership. Enjoy this quick dive, and if it sparks your curiosity, the full episode awaits. Let's jump in. Happy listening.
What are the three most important leadership lessons that you learned in the last years as you started NanoTemper?
The most important thing is walk the talk. You really have to live what you're speaking about. You have a culture, you have values, and you have to live them. You can't, when you say you treat everyone equally, and you're a CEO and founder, it's not about drinking champagne with your executive team and only with them. It's also having a beer with everyone in your production. You have to treat everyone equally, and it's your personality. You can play a role for a certain time, but over years, it's your personality. You really have to live it, and you have to start with yourself. So it's about, in the beginning I did a lot of times wrong. I complain about how others behave and I try to change them. But you can't change others, you can only change your own attitude and your own behavior. So as soon as I realized it, I got more coaches and also mentors and worked on myself. And also got feedback to improve things I did wrong. And this is, start with yourself. As a founder, CEO, or wherever you are, you have to start with yourself.
When we go a little bit back to your upbringing, what impact did your experience in your village have on your entrepreneurship spirit?
So my parents, my father and my mother. My father worked as an electrician, my mother in kindergarten, and my grandpa as a farmer. And my parents were complaining about their jobs and the bosses. And my grandfather was not. He had his own business. As a farmer, you're very much influenced by weather. And if you think about it, you have, in your whole lifetime, you have only 50 or 40 opportunities to get the perfect harvest. And the weather is as it is. It can be bad or good, but it doesn't help you to complain about the weather because you can't influence the weather. And this was my learning, what I also said with the Silicon Valley Bank. I can't influence what is happening there, as I can't influence the weather. So if there is bad weather, I still try to get the best possible harvest. And so if there is a bad finance situation because of a bank crisis, I can't influence this, but I still try to get the best out of the situation. And this is what I learned there. If there is something, I can't complain. I can't complain about people because I'm the entrepreneur. I can't blame anyone. I can't blame the weather. I can't blame the Silicon Valley Bank. I can only blame me. So I have to focus on the things I can do. And it's not about complaining. We have to change the situation. So don't waste your time in complaining. Put your time into improving.
How did you find your passion for physics?
I had good teachers in physics. So as a child, I remember I was most interested in biology. But in school, I had bad teachers in chemistry and biology, so I somehow hated it. But now I'm doing it. It's very good. And I had very good teachers in mathematics and physics and had a talent for it. And then when it comes to studies, I didn't start with physics. So I finished school in 1999, then did the civil service. And since there was this IT boom, also in Germany, MP3 format was discovered by Mr. Brandenburger. And he he joined Ilmenau, a small town university, as professor. So I went to Ilmenau to start with engineering informatics because, from a village with physics, what can you do? Become teacher. I had no idea what to do with physics later on. Maybe astronaut, which is cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Or science, but there is maybe also find no job. At least in my regions, there was no job in physics. So I started with informatics. And in this engineering informatics course, you also listen to physics. And then I had my first physics course. And then I said, okay, no, it's not informatics, it's physics. And then I changed to physics. So I tried, I failed, I changed. And now I'm doing business and biochemistry and not physics.
Basically, the majority, I think, went down the safe job route, and you decided to go for a PhD studies.
Mm-hmm.
What formed your decision?
I think my father and my parents supported me, and also it was this curiosity. I wanted to learn more, also to go to a new city, and also this. I realized there was a lot of knowledge out there. I'm a big science fiction fan. I think you mentioned the Star Trek.
Yeah.
And as we are now on TV, so I'm a big John Le Carre fan. There's one thing I want to do: engage. Yeah, so I had my parents supporting me strongly.
You mentioned a couple of times that you like science fiction books.
Yeah.
And now I'm curious, which was the most influential science fiction book on your work?
I think it's called Lucky Star Space Ranger from Isaac Asimov.
Mm-hmm.
There is a guy, it's detective stories with a guy who studied physics. And it says a science council helping the governments to solve difficult problems.
Mm-hmm.
And this was somehow a hero for me who solved, let's say, science fiction problems with science. So he studied physics, he was a cool guy, a hero, and this somehow resonated with me in my teenage years. And I like the science fiction mode where they build up a new universe. They set up rules,
Mm-hmm.
not real rules, but rules, and stick to the rules. So they build a setting and stick to it, and there a completely new world evolves. And this helps me to get out of this operational mode and to open up my brain for new things and new ways of thinking.
When we talk about treating people in a nice and kind way, these days when you read leadership books, they are often about being kind and being nice to everybody. Then you look into the sports world and realize that athletes and top performing athletes very often seek people that push them forward, and they demand from them that they don't be nice. So that they just shout at them and scream at them to just get the best out of them. Where do you see in leadership, in your world, the balance between being kind and nice and also sometimes being unfriendly and pushy to move people forward for their own benefit? Must there be a balance, or is it really either or, in your opinion?
I would say it's to be honest and transparent. If someone does something wrong, tell this person it's wrong. Don't tell you're stupid or whatever, just say it's wrong. It's honesty and transparency, and it's all built on trust. The other things are just some mentality things. It's just like, say how it is also learned from my village times with craftsmen and farmers. You take the things as they are, and I think the area where I'm from, Franconia, we are known to be very direct. And this is very efficient. You don't talk around, you say what it is. You try to get an image of the reality and describe the reality. And I think it's honesty. When you say someone, you did this wrong, this person can learn. You can say it in a nice way or in a not so nice way, a pushy way, but this is a second layer. First, you have to identify the reality and name the reality. And the rest is then communication. And communication is also, it's bilateral. I mean, it's not a general thing. You have to understand, you have to know the other person, and then you can communicate it in a way which you think is best for the other person. Because the information, how you receive Information is not about how I talk, it's about how you understand it. So you have to give it to you in a way I think you can understand it. And this can be a pushy. Some people like the pushy way, some people like the very nice way. So it's up to me as a leader or manager to understand the best way of communication for this certain person.
How important are emotions in leadership, in your opinion?
In leadership, it's all about emotions. People follow you. I mean, leadership is not about you, it's about your people. You're only a leader if someone follows you. And they follow you because they believe in you and they trust in you. And it's only emotions. It's personality, it's emotions. You have to talk with them in a very emotional way because it's not about you, it's about them. A leader is defined by the followers, only by the followers. Only if you know the followers, you can define the leader. A leader alone is nothing. It's just a person. It's always a follower who are important. And so it's emotions.
Yeah, I think especially in the knowledge world that we have these days, it's important to keep people motivated. And if leaders fail in that, I think they block a lot of energy. And innovation cannot move forward when people feel blocked, in my opinion. How do you see it?
Yeah, when people have fear, it can block innovation. Some say it can also be a driver. It also depends on the person. But fear, you shouldn't be afraid of something. You feel safe. And I think it's also about feeling trusted. If you see someone believes in you, you feel very confident to try the risky things. And it's also where you have to control, let's say, the gossip. Sometimes people are afraid because in the past something happened and then someone was fired, and then people are afraid to do the same thing. But there's also a lot of assumption. So that's why it's important to always actively communicate how you think and how you would react in such a situation. Also, when a new employee starts, you tell them, well, I tell them, I'm getting angry very quickly, and you will see it. But the next day, it's over. I'm fine again.
Do you get angry very quickly?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have still a passion for space? I mean, I think the 80s, it was Star Trek, it was Star Wars. I think many people, our generation, started dreaming about space exploration. Elon Musk went down this route. So he still, I think, with SpaceX has the vision to build a colony on Mars. What's with your company? Is there any visionary space project going on?
I also like space very much. And we indeed have a project with the International Space Station.
Really?
Yeah. So I think it's now the launch is planned now for 2025. We will send experiments to the International Space Station. It's a formulation topic, formulation of proteins, how to stabilize them. So I'm very excited about this project. It started already in 2014. So a long time project, and the launch has been postponed for several times now, but it's now planned, I think, May 2025. And then we will send an experiment to the International Space Station, so rocket science. Cool.
Why space? Why do you need space for your work?
In space, you have nearly no gravity, and we do a lot of with temperature, and all our samples are in liquid. So an antibody, a drug like Herceptin or trastuzumab, has to be stable in liquid, and then you have a lot of temperature influences. And temperature means you have thermal convection. And thermal convection means if you heat something up, it becomes lighter, and then it moves upwards. And this induces flows, which makes something to these antibodies. And why do it move upwards? The warm thing is lighter, but it only is lighter because there is gravity. And to really understand what temperature alone does to it without flows, you have to switch off gravity. What you can't do on Earth, but on International Space Station, you have microgravity, so nearly no influence of gravity. So we can study the stability, the thermal stability of antibodies without the influence of gravity, without thermal convective flows. And then this whole problem becomes simpler, and we hope to learn something from this.
When are the medicines available for every person that every disease is treatable? What's your guess on that?
Hopefully before it's too late for me. So my mother had cancer and was saved by Trastuzumab and Herceptin, so I'm afraid of getting cancer. So my family has a certain history of cancer cases. And so I'm also afraid of getting cancer. And this is the thing, also one reason why I founded NanoTemper, because I thought, what can I do to improve the situation with cancer? I don't want to be a victim of the fate. And one thing, okay, I can develop a drug, but then it's one drug against one cancer thing. But where do I have the biggest leverage? And it was about tools for the scientists. So there are a lot of clever scientists, thousands, 10,000s of them. If they have better tools, they can develop better drugs faster. So we have around 20,000 users now. And if we just think about if we improve the usability of our device in a way that we save the scientists 1 hour per week, we have 50 weeks, 1 hour per week, times 20,000 scientists is 1 million hours. And this is a huge leverage, 1 million hours more time to discover new cancer drugs. So, as I said, prediction about the future, especially tough, but I strongly believe that every disease is treatable. And I hope that we will get there and that everyone has access to it. It's very important that people have to access to these drugs and that we get these drugs quicker. So every month counts. So I mean, every year you have 18 million new cancer cases. Every year, so it's like the population of the Netherlands. 18 million. It's more than 1 million new cases every month.
Yeah.
So every month when we help a company to release a cancer drug 1 month earlier, you can save a lot of lives. And I mean, if you are ill and you really have the cancer every month, every day is very important for you. This is also why we push so hard to be quick with our solutions on the market, because it makes a difference. So I don't know when this will be, but I push really hard that it will be sooner.
Situations in a company change, companies evolve, and not everybody is a good fit at any stage in the company. So sometimes it's necessary, especially when it comes to negativity, to keep the team moving forward and not stopping in the development, to also fire people. Yeah. What's your approach as a business angel?
Up to now, in the 3 investments I didn't have the situation, but in my own company.
Like you.
And this is, I think, this is one very important thing which also discriminates good company for, let's say, normal companies. Everyone can hire. Everyone likes to hire because it's a nice thing. And the tough thing is firing. Talking with someone, looking this person in the eye and saying, we have to separate. And there is where a lot of people fail. They are afraid to fire someone because of the knowledge of this person, so long it's a company, what will happen to it. And then this is a sign when you think we can't fire this person because it's so important, then you have to do it immediately because the next day will be even worse. And in my experience, whenever we have to let go someone, it has never become bad. It just changed, but it was never a big problem. We're still doing this too late because it's really, really tough. I know when you tell the other person, you know this person will have a tough time afterwards, but believe me, I have this time before. A lot of my gray hairs are from these things, but this is what you have to do. This is leadership. The tough decisions are about you, and this is not hiring, it's firing. And one toxic person can kill your whole team.
If you could get a time machine and travel back to your younger self, let's say around 2000, what advice, with all the experience you gained in the last 23 years, what advice would you give your younger self?
So my advice would be not only to my younger self, because afterwards you always know better, do your thing. And thing is really about do. Get all the information available, talk with a lot of people, get the advices, but do and know people share experience with you. Experience are from the past. Experience are limited. When something was impossible in the past, reconsider it, because situation in the past was different. Now and in the future, there are new technologies, things which have been impossible in the past may now be possible. So take the advices, take the experience, but take it out you are now, and there is a future. So do it, do your thing.